Beyond the buzzer, inside the game, this is Sports IQ with Larry Smith.
Welcome here. Happy St. Patrick's Day. Are you wearing your green? If no one's wearing green, don't pinch them. It's okay. Let's let them. It's America. We have choices here, but try to wear some green. Just try to avoid that. I used to always wear orange back in the day. I heard that was like for non-Irish. I don't know. Anyway, just go out and have fun. Be happy. Say hi to somebody. Let's make it a good day. Tuesday the 17th. Hey, NCAA Tournament beginning tonight. We have the first four games. And enjoy, because we may have like the first, 8 games next year. Expansion may come in 2027. So we'll see what happens with that. Good show coming up. We've talked about the NCAA Tournament always as a chance for those teams that we don't hear about making their first appearance in the dance, or they get their first win, they upset one of the powers or whatever. We get a chance to talk to an assistant coach from Queen's University in Charlotte. Queen's College, Queen's University, we'll ask him which one it is. Daniel Bailey's going to join us. They won the ASUN, and they are making their first ever, former Division II power, making their first ever appearance in the NCAA tournament. That's coming up. Also, I promised you the Dirty Dozen, and we're going to talk about that. We'll unveil the Dirty Dozen at the end of the show, but you may be asking, what is the Dirty Dozen? Why do I care? And how will it help me win my office pool? Well, my friend, we're going to explain all of that for you. It's going to be good stuff. Trust me on that. That's on the way. We also promised you yesterday, and to get around to it, I promised you that I would explain why you should be very careful of all the NCAA tournament shows moving forward. And we're going to talk about the reason why. That's something else here coming up that we'll discuss here in our second segment, the studio shows and why that's a problem. So we have a lot coming up. If you're a college basketball fan, it's a good day. You're in a good place. But we have some headlines we'll get to for you right now. Team USA now knows who will be facing in the World Baseball Classic in the final. It'll be Venezuela. Italy's surprise run in the WBC coming to an end as Venezuela took care of business against the Italians in front of a raucous crowd in Miami. It's now the first ever WBC championship game appearance for the Venezuelans. Ronald Acuna Jr., Michael Garcia, and Luis Oranz hit runs, scoring 2-out singles in a 7th-inning rally to propel Venezuela to the victory. They overcame a 2-0 fourth-inning deficit after rebounding from a 3-run hole to beat the defending champion Japan in a quarterfinal matchup, and reached the final again for the first time after losing to South Korea in its only previous semifinal appearance back in 2009. Team USA will send Mets youngster Nolan McLean, who gave up 3 runs in 3 innings to Italy in his other assignment. Venezuela will send Eduardo Rodriguez to the mound. He also struggled in his other appearance, going only 3 innings against the Dominican Republic in pool play, giving up 3 runs in that one. Okay, NCAA basketball world, and bad news if you have Alabama going to the Final Four. Crimson Tide guard Aiden Holloway has been removed from the team pending the outcome of the school's investigation following his arrest Monday on felony drug possession charges. This according to a report on ESPN. 4-seeded Alabama, they're 23-9 on the season. They play Hofstra in Friday's first-round game of March Madness. A spokesperson for the Tuscaloosa Police Department told CBS News that the West Alabama Narcotics Task Force searched Holloway's residence on Monday and discovered more than a pound of marijuana, paraphernalia, and cash. It is... just a terrible news for Alabama. And it's for a team that, again, was kind of considered a dark horse, possibly to go deep in the tournament. Nate Olds, what he's done with this program has been unbelievable. But the Crimson Tide now, without their second leading scorer, moving forward. Meanwhile, how high is the bidding these days for college players? Well, listen to Michigan's Yaxel Lindeborg. The Big Ten Player of the Year, in an interview this week with the Associated Press, revealed that Kentucky offered him between, quote, $7 and $9 million to play for them. Now, to go back, Lindeborg was at UAB, came on big end of the season, led them to the NIT title, and actually entered the NBA draft. And as you can see, he's an unbelievable player. Just mentioned he was Player of the Year in the Big Ten this year. Everybody wanted him. He ended up going to Michigan, skipped the NBA draft, and he'll enter this year. Now that he's out of eligibility. But Yaxel quoting, "I was raised without it," meaning money, "and I went my whole life without it. Anything was going to make me super, super happy at the time. I was thinking long term, what if I mess up my career because I chased the money? instead of a future. Another big reason why I went with Dusty May was he didn't talk about money at all. It was all about making me better and helping me achieve my goals. End quote. So again, he said in that he really went to Michigan because of Dusty May, and again, not because of the money. So the report also goes on to say that it's estimated, again, as we talked with Michael Leroy last week, that really good interview, it's so hard to get exact numbers. I mean, all of this stuff is just kind of cloak and dagger. You can never get anybody to admit what these figures are. The agents are the ones that throw the numbers out there, numbers that we do hear. And so Lindeborg reportedly is making about $5 million this year. So it's funny. We heard that number with A.J. DeBonsa at BYU, the freshman. Lindeborg, $5 million. Is that accurate? Who knows? But $7 to $9 million. Now, keep in mind, Kentucky's payroll, they have said, is about $22 million. It's one of the schools actually that has come out and publicly said what it was. I don't know what they spent the $22 million on. I don't know how that money was allocated. Will this have been on top of that or part of that? But if Kentucky's throwing out this kind of money, no wonder their payroll is at $20 million for a team that's only a 7 seed. Of course, they had 3 injuries, but that's another story. So anyway, again, tonight, the first two play-in games taking center stage in Dayton, Ohio, starting with UMBC and Howard. The Bison 0-2 in their previous appearances, most recently losing in Dayton back in 2024. UMBC, meanwhile, in the big dance for the first time since, 2018, when they shocked the world as the first number 16 seed to beat a number 1 seed in the expanded bracket era. In the nightcap tonight, it's Texas and NC State. Both have 1-5 records since February 20th. And though many thought that those defeats have come to tournament teams, although many have come to tournament teams, the absence of wins has cast some doubt on their form at this point of the year. NBA action on Monday. Steve Kerr finally getting win number 600 in his career. After getting to 599, the Warriors dropped 5 straight, but then got what any team who is on a losing streak needs: a date with the Washington Wizards. That makes everything go well, like a spoonful of sugar. It goes down real nice. The Warriors get the win, 125-117. Did you get that reference? Okay, I'll keep moving on. Kerr, by the way, is the 4th fastest coach to reach 600, trailing Phil Jackson, Pat Riley, and Greg Popovich. Of course, he played for Jackson and Popovich just by coincidence. Hey, the Atlanta Hawks, hotter than the near side of the sun right now. Nickeil Alexander-Walker scoring a career-high 41 points. Jalen Johnson had his 13th double-double of the season, and the Atlanta Hawks rolling past Orlando, 124-112. The Hawk improving to 38-31 and reclaiming 8th place in the Eastern Conference as they bump Philadelphia down to 9th. Johnson, by the way, 24 points, 15 rebounds, 13 assists. That's his second straight triple-double. Dyson Daniels also 15 points and 12 rebounds. I don't know what's going on in Atlanta right now. Remember, this was supposed to be the night that they're going to have the Magic City night, honoring the now famous strip club, now that the co-owner, the owner's wife, did a documentary on the place. The NBA came in and said, no, we're not going to pay homage to a strip club on NBA night. We're not doing that. And let's just be thankful that they did. NFL front, meanwhile, the Kansas City Chiefs have a new quarterback. No, they did not trade Patrick Mahomes, but they did trade for Justin Fields from the New York Jets. KC giving the Jets a 6th-round pick for Fields, who will be Mahomes' backup this season. Of course, Fields now, boy, he is not very old, but he is a journeyman. Drafted by Chicago, didn't work out there, then went to Pittsburgh, and then the Jets, and now he's a backup for Mahomes. The Jets will go with the veteran Geno Smith for his second time with the Jets here in 2026. Okay, quick timeout right now, and we'll get to basketball. Beware the studio shows. And what is the Dirty Dozen, and how did that start, and why do I care? Those answers up next.
Are you tired of your website making your business look bad? Is your current web developer dropping the ball? Let's face it, if your website isn't making you money, it's broken. Let Neon Rain create a website that turns your visitors into customers. Neon Rain has worked with hundreds of businesses across North America, building custom websites and applications with modern designs that are easy to update and work well on mobile devices. They can do it for you too. What sets Neon Rain apart? They actually deliver on their promises. Call today for a free consultation. 303-957-3092. That's Neon Rain at 303-957-3092. Or visit them at neonrain.com.
You're listening to Sports IQ with Larry Smith.
Hey, welcome back here to the show. By the way, we should let you know as well, we've done this now for the past year. We're now on year 2 of the show. Man, we appreciate all the comments, even the ones who don't like us. That's fine too. We get a couple of those, and we're big boys. We can handle that. But it's a lot of fun, and if you're just joining us, we pride ourselves on just not screaming, yelling, cursing, name-calling. There's plenty of that out there. This is every day come here, learn something new with great guests. Man, again, we talked about the one. If you missed it last week, and we have our stuff archived, you can find it on our YouTube page, Sports IQ LS. You can find it on Spotify, on Apple, wherever you get your podcast. But last Friday's show, as we're talking NIL and the whole Yaxel Lindenborg thing, the Michael Leroy interview is again fantastic. Boy, we could almost have him on weekly, just kind of digging into kind of what all this stuff's all about. So it's just anyway, that's what we pride ourselves on, is just having great conversation. We hopefully you'll tell your friends, be sure to join us. We're here Monday through Friday. Okay, let's get to NCAA tournament. And I mentioned yesterday, and again at the top of the show, about beware of the studio shows and the information they are now giving to you as you make out your brackets. So as we talked before, producer Tony and I first met back in 1993. Tony was a producer at CNN Sports when I joined as one of the anchors. And we worked together for 10 years. We've been friends ever since. So we go back for 30 years. One of the things that started with us, things in our lives went swimmingly when we had only CNN Sports. We did our shows on CNN. We then went out and started the network called CNN Sports Illustrated, which meant we had a lot more content that we had to do. So, and then you want to try to each day make it fresh. You don't want to regurgitate the same stuff you did yesterday. And that really came to a head when it came to the NCAA tournament, because you had the same at the time, 64 teams when we started. And, obviously they're the big teams. How do we make this different each night? Well, one of the things we would do from time to time is we would say, let's say the third night of this, we'd say, because back then you'd have the first 4 games on Tuesday to take your time. We'd say, okay, well, we've said these teams for 2 nights. Let's the third night go through and let's do an alternative bracket. I mean, what have some of these other teams won? And so the problem is it's the NCAA tournament. So you have 68 teams that have all had some measure of success during the year. So even though there would be this set of teams that are the teams that everyone kind of agrees are the favorites or the teams you think, you're now going to shift gears and say, well, what if this team won? What if this 6 seed beat the 3 seed? Could they beat the 2 seed? Yeah, they could. So the information coming out, the analysis, if you will, completely changes from night to night as you're trying to make it fresh. So beware as you're going through. And so that's kind of where this stuff started for me, the white jersey theory and then the dirty dozen, was I was trying to find a way, is there a way to cut through the chaff? And on top of that, I'm not trying to be nasty, but I'm just going to be honest. Back in the day, this is back in the late 90s, ESPN studio show consisted of a host and Digger Phelps, a former Notre Dame coach, and Dick Vitale, the former Detroit coach, was in the NBA Detroit Pistons for a while. Then he admits in his book, and he wrote back in the 80s, he failed at coaching and he got into broadcasting and became an icon, right? He's still on right now, still talking about the 80s, even though it's 2026. That's just what Dick does. And we love Dick Vitale. Well, every team that came in, every team that was discussed, they were in. You would say, well, about Syracuse? Oh, yeah, there's no question. And if you're keeping score at home, they had 72 teams in 64 slots. So you're watching the analysis, and it really didn't help you because everybody's in. There was no deductive reasoning. Well, I think because this happened, it still happens somewhat now a little bit, but not to the level they do think it through. So what happened? This started for me back in 2001. It was March 2001. I'm in Kansas City. I'm at an NCAA tournament game site there at the old Kemper Arena before they built the new place. And I'm there to watch my school, Eastern Illinois, get pummeled as a 15 seed against Arizona. It was the second and last time that they've been in the tournament. And as I'm sitting in the stands before the game watching Wake Forest and Butler, there's an official sitting near me as I just grabbed an empty seat, and he recognized me from CNN and strikes up a conversation. And so I'm asking him about, I'm just curious. I've always wanted to ask, what's the magic potion? What's the magic word that gets a coach ejected? Is it the F word? Is it 3 F words? Is it something F with in regards to the woman who gave birth to you? I mean, what's the secret sauce? And he begins answering, but lost in that, he describes a situation where in an NCAA tournament game years earlier, the star player of the underdog team that was trailing in the game to the favorite, the number 1 seed, the star player who later go to play in the NBA, committed his 5th foul in the final minutes. This guy admitted to giving that foul to another player. He said, because, quote, I knew they had no chance of winning if he stayed if he was out of the game, end quote. And I never got the answer, or if he gave the answer, I never heard it, because I was lost. Like, wow, you're telling me these guys really are that aware of time and score and who has how many fouls, that he would intentionally not foul this guy out, even though he committed the foul? I was fascinated. So I began doing some research and going back. So at the time, this is before the internet is what it is today. But at CNN, we had, a whole wall of nothing but, media guides and different, resources to go look up things. So I began my research and began watching every year and taking notes. And I noticed a pattern at the time, and I called it the white jersey theory. And here's what it was. Starting in the Sweet 16, this is again doing research, going through years and years and years of box scores, and then following along as we went along. The team that wore white, the team that was the perceived favorite, because when you wear white, you're the lower seed, the better seed. They would shoot more free throws, literally more than 85% of the time. And so, as over the years I've discussed this, I remember I was at a dinner, one night with my wife's, her girlfriend and this woman's boyfriend, her partner. And I was telling the story. Never met this guy before. And he said, well, because they're a better team. That's why they shoot more free throws. I'm like, wait a minute. I'm not talking about a 1 versus 16 or a 1 versus 9. I'm talking about a 1 versus a 2 or a 2 versus a 4. Like I'm talking elite teams. So you're telling me that the 1 seed always is the better team than a 2 seed? On the S curve, the 4 is better than the 5 exponentially? I mean, we're talking teams that's why we start this in the Sweet 16 because of this. He didn't get it, that's fine. But it's real. I mean, I could give you example after example. One of the best stories I'll tell you, and I got a bunch of them. I'll share one. 2007 Final Four. It's in Atlanta. And I go to take my seat. At the time, my seat in the arena was always near center court, and it was the 3rd or 4th row. There were all the 3 rows of media tables for all the print guys. And then the broadcast media, we just had a row of chairs that backed against the first row of the stands, people who paid for or got VIP tickets kind of thing. I'm there before the game. The 2 games are Ohio State, Georgetown in game 1 and UCLA, Florida in game 2. Well, up behind me walks John Havlicek and Phil Negro, both wearing the red blazers, both Ohio State guys, right? Now, I'd met Hondo years earlier. I played in Rick Pitino's celebrity tournament in his last year as the Boston Celtics coach down in Tampa. And we happened to share a limousine ride with Bill Russell, and then we shared a ride later going over from Tampa to Orlando to see the Magic and the Celtics play an exhibition game. This is October, years earlier. And I knew Phil Negro. We'd played some golf tournaments together, so we all knew each other. We're having a conversation, and I began explaining the whole thing of Phil asked me, who do you like? Larry, who do you like this week? I said, well, you're not going to like this, but I like Florida to repeat. And of course, they both frowned. I said, here's the thing. I said, it's going to come down to free throws, and Florida's going to shoot more free throws than Ohio State. Florida's going to win tonight. Ohio State's going to win tonight. Florida's going to beat Ohio State Monday night. It's going to come down to free throws. And they both just frowned. And Hondo, they're both now sitting down as I'm standing across talking to them. Frowned and he said, Larry, we're number 1 in free throws in the tournament. You're full of blank. I said, well, here's the thing. You may be number 1 in free throws. You'll be number 1 in free throws tonight. You won't be Monday night. You'll be wearing scarlet. You're red. It's not going to happen. But fellas, enjoy the game. We'll talk again. Well, as predicted, Ohio State wins over Georgetown. They shoot more free throws wearing white. Florida beats UCLA. They shoot more free throws wearing white. We get to Monday night. Florida is wearing white. Ohio State is wearing their visiting red. 1 minute to go in the first half. Greg Oden is at the free throw line shooting Ohio State's first free throw. Florida has already shot 10. And I turned to them and I said, are you still number 1 in free throws? and I can't repeat on air what happened. Eddie's now gone on to glory. God bless him. He's a great guy. What Hondo said, but basically he said unblanking believable. So, yeah, the white jersey, there's so many opportunities, so many things I could tell you. I mean, oh my goodness, North Carolina in the regional final that year, 2008, North Carolina against Kansas. I mean, it was a 40-12 bulge in that it just, there's so many ways we can go through. So anyway, that's where it began. So in the process of this, I'm filling out my office pool all along the way. And I realized that every year I'm picking just randomly. I'm picking because I'm listening to all the guys on TV. And I'm like, I've got all this data, and it's almost like Rockefeller and gasoline. There's this byproduct over here. Like, what can I do with this? Problem is, I haven't found a way to monetize this, unlike Rockefeller. But anyway, so in 2009, I finally said, wait a minute, I've got this research here. What if I applied all this research to my bracket? And that was a year that I had in my bracket, 2 different brackets at CNN office pools. I had North Carolina over Michigan State a 2 seed in the championship game in the first ever Final Four played in Detroit. And so come title night, I'm doing live shots all day for all the CNN networks. And the deeper we get into the day and the closer to tip-off, the story is no longer North Carolina versus Michigan State. The story becomes, did you really pick this team, these 2 teams, really pick this as the final? I did. I wound up winning over $1,000. I won both office pools, more than $1,000 I collected, and we had something going here. That was the first year of the Dirty Dozen. And the Dirty Dozen is the 12 teams out of the top 24 seed lines that will not win the NCAA championship. It cuts out the chaff. That year, the team du jour, according to ESPN, was Louisville. Louisville was in the Big East at the time. Rick Pitino, they had come through and won the regular season, and even though they didn't, there was a very, very lopsided schedule. They only played the top teams once each, so like what we have now. But now everybody does it. At the time, nobody did it except the Big East. And then their other big teams were upset in the tournament, so they again did not play one of the best teams, the other teams in the Big East. So they ran through and won both. And all of a sudden, as they're going through, and analysts have stopped doing it so much now, but for years they would do this. They would, while they're cutting down the nets and they're trying to fill time, they would say, "Well, I think this team has really got a shot to go all the way. We just saw a great performance here, and they beat this team, and they're gonna." I mean, and all of a sudden they talk themselves into this team being like a dynasty, and they're really not. The numbers show that Louisville really was the 5th best team. The numbers show that year that North Carolina was number 1. Michigan State was 3. And Louisville was 5. But instead, they had Louisville, really, the committee had Louisville number 1, and Michigan State is an 8 on the S curve. As soon as I saw that, I picked Michigan State. They had played more games against the RPI top 15 than anybody, like 20. They were tried and true, and it was an easy pick for me to put Michigan State there. So what they do is, again, it cuts through the chaff. The Dirty Dozen, as we explain it here, we'll reveal at the end of the show. The Dirty Dozen comes in, and it doesn't matter the banners at home, doesn't matter what you did last year, doesn't matter who your coach is, doesn't matter what color your uniforms are, doesn't matter what city the school resides in. It's all a numbers game, and it's a numbers game from this year and this year only. It's a matrix. I don't pick the teams. I disagree with the Dirty Dozen every year it comes out, and you'll hear me say in a few minutes, I don't know if this is going to be the way it's going to go, but I will tell you that the past couple of years, there have not been many 1 seeds. We usually have a 1 seed. I just saw on my Facebook feed that it came up the memories they do, whatever. And back 10 years ago, Kansas was a 1 seed. And they were the number 1 overall, and they were on the Dirty Dozen, and everyone just ripped me. Well, they lost to Villanova in the regional final. So it's only lost once. 2023, UConn's the only one that's broken through. 13-1. There, of course, wasn't a tournament in 2020. Didn't do one in 2021 because of the unbalanced schedules. So anyway, there you go. That's the history of the Dirty Dozen, and hopefully it helps you. I've had a lot of people tell me over the years. It's helped improve their bracket. I know a lot of people who, I can't tell you the messages I've gotten, the text messages, the phone calls, the DMs on social media asking for the Dirty Dozen. But we're giving it to you here first, here on this show first, and then we'll put it elsewhere as a perk for being here, being loyal to us here on the Sports IQ. So, okay, that's coming up in a bit. Daniel Bailey from Queens University is coming up shortly. next after this break here on the Sports IQ with Larry Smith.
Listen, were you forced into getting a solar contract and now you just don't want it anymore? Maybe the solar company misled you. Or is your solar contract buried with hidden fees? Are you not saving the amount of money you thought you would on your energy costs? Don't worry. At the Solar Exit Hotline, we can help you cancel your solar contract, even if the panels are already installed. Our experienced legal team will review your contract and help you cancel it, possibly saving you thousands of dollars. You got to call right now for complete details. So listen, if you're not happy with your solar contract for any reason, we are here to help you cancel it. Call the Solar Exit Hotline now for immediate options to help you exit your solar contract. This call is 100% free.
Call 855-227-0286. That's 855-227-0286. Call us right now.
You're locked in to Sports IQ with Larry Smith.
You know, March Madness is what makes it mad is that you have teams. You spend time talking about the Michigans and Dukes and Arizonas and whatever, but there are those teams that come in, and it's the one tournament year in, year out that everybody has a shot, right? I mean, you had never heard of UMBC until a few years ago, right? You'd never, St. Peter's was a school you just thought was something, I don't know, in the Bible, like Catholic or something, but no. Queens College now is okay. Listen, let me just get right to it. Queens College assistant coach Daniel Bailey is here with us right now. Daniel, first, congratulations. Is it Queens College or Queens University? Queens University.
Queens University is Charlotte. Yes, it used to be Queens College, but Queens University.
Used to be. I'm showing my age right now. The Royals, champs of the ASUN. First off, let's start from the beginning. Let's educate folks. Tell us about Queens University.
So Queens University, small private school, just with Division I in our fourth season now, located probably 5 minutes from Uptown Charlotte in a beautiful neighborhood called Myers Park. Like I said, actually, it used to be all-girls school, founded in 1857.
Okay.
They brought in integrated males on campus by bringing in sports. So actually, the first men's basketball team was in 1991. Those guys are still all around. They're excited about what's going on now here at Queens.
Yeah. It's funny that there's been a few situations like that where schools have done that. Berry College in North Georgia did the same thing. The population was 85% female. They said, let's add a football team, bring some guys into the campus. And they did that. Here you are. So 4 years now in D1. Did you think this was possible at the start of the year?
So actually, it might sound cliche, but yes, we did. We actually did get voted number one in the preseason polls by the coaches. And usually the coaches know a little bit more about the league than, of course, than the average fan will say. But, Queens has a rich basketball history. All our time in Division II, we're used to winning championships. We're used to going to the tournament, the Elite Eight. So there's nothing that's surprising us. I mean, I'm a little bit surprised at how fast, how successful we've been in the transition. I thought maybe be a little bit more bumps in the road, not say there haven't been bumps. But, we're excited to be here, our first year eligibility. But there's a lot of guys in our locker room, they're excited to be here, but they knew they'll be here.
Well, it's been several days. Yeah, no, it does, definitely. It's been a few days now, a week ago Saturday, since you beat Central Arkansas in overtime to win the conference tournament and to stamp your ticket, your invitation into the tournament. Take us back to that game. What was it like to get that victory on that Saturday?
Oh, man, it was surreal. First of all, since Arkansas beat us twice in the regular season, they have a great staff, a lot of great players. Cameron Hunter, he went for 49 in that game. It's like at one point, it's like kind of watching like Michael Jordan put his team on his back. He willed his team the last half. I think he scored 28 of the last 31 points. Amazing player. But we was able to win in overtime. But I was just so happy for our guys, our program, our school, our fans, our community to be able to see Queens on a national stage. Queens is a great school, rich history, but a lot of people don't know about it. And we're just, representatives of the university kind of bring the brand on the national stage, and we're excited about that.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so so you had to then wait 8 days until you heard your name called. What has this past week been like, knowing you're in the dance, knowing you're about to make history, but you have to wait to find out the details? What's that been like this past week?
I think it's been pretty cool because, of course, you get to celebrate with the guys. We kind of got to focus on us for a little bit. They got a little bit of time off, and we practiced, but we wasn't worried about who we was playing. It's more so, focusing on us, getting back in shape after the 2, 3 days off, getting back, online with our ball screen coverages, our offensive philosophy. So it's been a great couple of days. All the guys went to a baseball game together. They brought the trophy. They brought like our team mascot, Buddy the Street Dog. I don't know if you've seen it or not. So it's been a great couple of days to kind of enjoy. But now today's been meeting, scouting, back to business, and getting ready for Purdue.
That's right. And you've got Purdue, one of those teams that suffered that upset a few years ago, Fairleigh Dickinson, and they were a 1-16, the other 16 team to win. So look, nothing against Purdue. I mean, they're coming in Big Ten champs, but they've been through this before where they've been stunned in the opening day.
Yeah, that's true. But like I said, hopefully history rewrites itself.
Yeah.
But it's still, like I said, we got to play the game, and we're excited we're excited to play anybody, but we're excited to play Purdue. Actually, a friend sent me a quote. Well, my coach laughed. The head coach laughed about their Australian player. They asked him where Queens was, and he said New York. So like I said, we're excited to kind of let people know what University of Charlotte basketball is about. And I'm sure there's a lot of Purdue fans that will actually love and enjoy our style of play, and like they'll know about Queens that they never knew before.
Yeah. Talking to Daniel Bailey, he's the assistant coach here for the Queens University Royals, the ASUN champion, 21 wins on the season, 15 seed, taking on Purdue in the NCAA tournament. Talk about your style of play. What can we expect when the Royals take the court against the Boilers?
Okay, so we play fast. We practice fast, play fast, very up-tempo offense. We have 6 guys averaging double figures. We share the ball well. Almost 7 guys averaging double figures. We shoot a lot of threes. We have, in my opinion, the best shooter in the country, Chris Ashby. He made 10 threes in the championship game. He has made 10, 11 threes multiple times. Ari has made 109 threes this year. So they'll be able to see one of the best unknown shooters in the country. So like I said, very fun style of play. Our guys love playing with each other. We say our offense is for each other. So like I said, we're excited to get out there and just show our brand of basketball to the rest of the country.
You guys are excited, of course, to be here. What different provisions being made for this NCAA tournament compared to previously when you guys were chasing Division II championships?
I think it's the same mindset. It's the same scouting that I think why we've been successful is we prepare every single day like it is a championship. So of course now it is the NCAA Tournament Division I championship. So it's a little more, that goes on behind the scenes, especially with administration and stuff. But for us, we're just basketball guys deciding to play basketball. So this is the same game, first round of NCAA Tournament Division I than it was Division II when you're playing Anderson University out of South Carolina, which is a great program, by the way. So it's just basketball for us.
Yeah. I always enjoy when we talk to somebody that's new to this. You get to school that is the first time in, or it's the first time they got to win in the tournament, and just the emotions of that, the raw emotions of this kind of being here and kind of exploring new waters. There's been a lot of talk about NIL and transfer portal and some of the smaller schools being pinched out. How do you guys handle recruiting as one of the smaller schools in Division I and trying to put together a roster that can be competitive with anybody in the country?
I mean, I think it's a couple of different things and different ways you can look at it. Some guys say like, "Oh, we develop the players and they take it from us." But the way I look at it personally is our job is to coach basketball and to help the young student athletes be the best version of themselves. Mm-hmm. So we develop all our players every single day. If it gets to a point where we can no longer offer the best use of their talents and their abilities at our level, then we should be happy to let them go on to do bigger things. So I think it works both ways. Us being in Charlotte, we have access to transfers from high major schools that didn't work out, and they come down to our level. And then we have guys from our level that, they passed our level and they end up going to a higher division, ACC, Power 4 schools, and some of them make life-changing money. So I think as coaches, you should not be mad at that one single bit. You do your job to help the athletes grow every single day. And if you create that environment, you have people that want to stay. So we have one of the most highest retention in our league last year because guys love what we're doing. They have a voice in our program. They love how they're treated. So I think it's been working well for us.
Yeah. What about Purdue that concerns you? Now you've had a chance to, well, maybe you watched the game on Sunday leading up to Selection Sunday. Very big win for them, preseason #1, kind of struggled here in the past few weeks, but maybe redeemed themselves this weekend. What concerns you as you begin to prep and get ready to game plan against the Boilers?
Okay, like I said, of course, they're a great team, great coach, have great players. They don't beat themselves. They play very smart basketball. They have a very uh, smart point guard that's played a lot of college basketball that controls the team. He makes the right reads. Um, they have, of course, they're bigger than us. They have 2 7-footers. They clog up the paint. But thankfully, we're trying to shoot a lot of threes. We're not really trying to get in the paint like that. But we will if it happens. But like I said, they're a great team. Uh, Very few holes offensively and defensively. Our job is to try to find, I think, what we can find that works for us, first them, and attack that. And I'm sure they'll do the same against us.
Yeah, you made a point in terms of Braden Smith. I think we mentioned in the show earlier this week that he is, just a couple of assists shy of Bobby Hurley's all-time record, which is amazing. First off, great players just don't stay in school 4 years. So that's number one. But still, credit to what he's done and to this Purdue program. I thought it was a crazy stat on Sunday. They had 21 assists against 2 turnovers. I don't know if I've ever seen a box score like that. I don't care what level.
Yeah, they really don't beat themselves. Like you said, he's a great. I remember watching them because we played Auburn this year, early in the season. So one of the games I watched was Purdue versus Auburn, and I'm just like, man, I'm glad we're not playing that guy. And it's funny on Selection Sunday, like, oh well, I guess I shouldn't have spoke too soon. So like I said, I'm excited to see him play, but at the same time, like I said, I'm excited the coach gets Purdue, be on that level, Queens versus Purdue. So I'm just taking it all in. The whole staff is taking it all in. It's all the players, and we're excited for our opportunity to play against them.
It's so exciting. Well, I'm asking about what you thought. What are the players? What was their reaction on Sunday when they heard their name called?
Oh, they were ecstatic. To see like Queens on the screen. We had a great event on campus. Selection show party. I think over 1,200 people showed up here in our gym. So like you just said, the community's rallied behind these guys, and they earn every recognition, everybody get to know their name, see them on platform. Because like I said, they work so hard and tirelessly day in, day out. I'm just happy that people get to see the fruits and labor of their hard work.
So small school, you're just under 2,000, I believe I've read here. How big is the gym? What's the capacity there?
The capacity of the gym is probably, I think, around 3,000. So it's a beautiful facility, Levine Center, beautiful facility. Actually, like for example, the Hornets did all of their preseason and summer workouts draft. They did it here because they're building a new facility as well. Okay. So like I said, our gym is no stranger to people in Charlotte. We have the best runs in the city over summertime, all the pros coming back. And when we play games here, like our first Division I game versus Marshall, it was sold out. Gym gets very, very loud, very loud.
Yeah, that's impressive. You guys certainly don't shy away from playing some of the bigger names in college basketball. Villanova this year, Virginia, Wake Forest, Arkansas. You mentioned Auburn already. So it doesn't seem like that being on this big stage is going to really be any concern to your players.
Yeah, I think our head coach Grant Leonard, he told the guys, being nervous is normal. It shows that you care, So like I'm sure our guys will be nervous. The NCAA tournament is the big dance. It's a little bit different than a regular season game. But once the ball tips, that first shot goes in, the guys get a little comfortable out there. Like it's just like I said, in the day, it's just basketball. Just more people watching.
Yeah, absolutely. So what's the agenda now? So Wednesday afternoon, we'll fly. What's the plan?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we're leaving on Wednesday. So we'll have typical day here. We have our meetings in the morning, watching film with the players. They live, we'll practice, and we'll start prepping, specifically what we're doing for this game. And like I said, we'll get out there and our guys will do interviews. People will learn a little bit more about the program. And like I said, it's going to be a exciting week. And like I said, it's great for our school, great for our community and our players.
Yeah, it'd be pretty cool. And right there in downtown St. Louis, which is such a cool place, great history there. It's mainly the hockey, the Blues arena, but they do a nice job in basketball there. Now, have you guys been to St. Louis before? Is this kind of do you try to do some other things outside basketball, or is when you go on a trip, is it all business?
Oh no, our coach is very big on giving guys a great experience. So far this year, we went to Philly. We took the guys to the Rocky Steps. We took them to Cheesesteak Corner. We play in Louisville every year. This year we did the Louisville Slugger Museum. Last
Yeah.
year, we took them to the Ali Museum. So we'll find something for our guys to do, to take them out of basketball a little bit. And like I said, we're in St. Louis. Let's learn about the history of the city, get out there, and, let our guys experience something that they wouldn't have seen before.
There's a thing years ago called the City Museum. That's pretty cool. I grew up 2 hours in St. Louis. And
Okay.
of course, Union Station, go to the Whispering Arch at the entrance of Union Station. You can stand on one side and whisper, and the acoustics, you can hear them on the other side. So,
Oh, really? So yeah, it's my first time in St. Louis. I've never been as well.
there you go. Yeah, I like St. Louis. Some don't like it. I like St. Louis. It's one of those things. But listen, good luck. Make history. You get that win. We could say, hey, we talked to Coach Bailey here. He tried to tell you. You better believe. Do you have a favorite Cinderella over the years? Valparaiso or Butler, St. Joe?
I say one of my guys I trained with back in the day named Marseille Brown. He plays for Hampton, the Hampton team that upset.
Yep.
I forgot who was it that played.
Iowa State.
Yeah, Iowa State.
Yeah.
So like I said, and I know him personally, so that's probably my favorite. I know he always posts the highlights when they win the upset it up. So hopefully in a couple of days we get to add Queens to that list. That'll be amazing. And like I said, we're just looking forward to the opportunity to play.
Yeah, well, like you guys, that was a 2:15 game, just like this one coming up here this weekend in St. Louis. Hey, Coach Bailey, listen, great to spend a few minutes with you and learn more about the Queen's University program. And man, travel well, have a great time, and make some history.
Thank you so much. Appreciate the opportunity.
All right, you got it. Good luck. Once again, Coach Daniel Bailey joining us, assistant coach with the Queen's University Royals, the ASUN champion, 15th seed, taking on Purdue in the opening round game. And that, again, is going to be on True TV coming up here on Friday here from St. Louis. All right, more on Sports IQ coming up next.
Are you paying too much for term life insurance? There's a tremendous price war among the major term life companies. Rates have dropped dramatically in the past 2 years. For example, a man age 45 non-tobacco user, $1 million of coverage is only $75 per month, level for the next 10 years. Or a man age 50 non-tobacco user can buy $500,000 of coverage for a monthly premium of only $110, guaranteed not to change for the next 20 years. That's right, level rates for 20 years. And if you're a smoker, we have great rates for you as well. At the Term Lifeline, we specialize in policies of $500,000 and above. So if you're looking for new or replacement term life insurance, call right now for a free quote.
Rates and availability may vary by state. Sample rate quotes are based on preferred non-tobacco underwriting exam required to qualify.
Call 855-826-7932. 855-826-7932. That's 855-826-7932.
Man, great stuff there. Producer Tony. By the way, Tony, great get to have Coach Bailey on there. And it's fun. I think of the other, the smaller schools coming in, mentioned, we talked about UMBC earlier. They were in the tournament again this year. Last time they, shocked the world beating, when they beat Virginia. I'll never forget that night. It was a Friday night, and I worked early mornings in D.C. I grabbed a pizza ready to watch the games. I dozed off, missed the first half, and woke up, and Virginia's losing in the second half. And I thought I was dreaming. I had to get up and splash water on my face, come back. I'm like, they're going to lose this game. That's insane. Right? That's the magic of March.
Right. That is the fun part of March. We're not going to see too many 16s upset ones. But the rare times that they do happen, and we've seen it now, it's twice it's happened overall, but it's still a very rare situation. But it's an exciting situation because those kids are so excited. They're so happy. And it's always a nail-biter game. It's not like they're going to blow away a number one seed. It's probably going to be a 1, 2, 3 point game. And it's always coming down to that last shot or something along those lines, a last defensive stand that allows them to hold up. So, always quite exciting.
Yeah, the other one was a few years ago. Fairleigh Dickinson beating Purdue and Zach Edey. I mean, their tallest guy was like 6'8", and Edey was 7'4". And we've had a lot of 2 upsets. I remember being in the newsroom here in Lexington and seeing number 2 Kentucky go down to St. Peter's, and you would have thought somebody died. I mean, it was like they were watching a tragedy. A death happen. I'm like, well, this is bad, but it stinks. But people get so hyped, and it's always. If you're a 1 or 2 seed, you're a power. I mean, you've only lost just a handful of games during the season. So to see your team go down in flames like that to a team that you couldn't even point out on a map, is pretty devastating. So, but it's cool. And, who knows? Purdue, we'll find out in a few minutes if they're dirty. Maybe their season ends here this week. We'll see what happens.
And tomorrow we'll get a coach from Siena University is going to join us.
Nice.
That's a quick preview for everybody out there. We will have one of the Siena assistant coaches joining us tomorrow.
Nice. There you go. See, that's, folks, if you want to know how to produce, that's how you produce right there. So see that? Art of the tease, everything. Hey, let's talk about some of these matchups. We discussed briefly yesterday the 6-11 matchups. And, I mean, you're right. These are some that, let's just start in the East here. Louisville 6, South Florida 11. South Florida, a great story. Their coach died tragically last year. And they have rebounded from that, and here they are in the dance.
Right, and they shoot a ton of threes. They love to shoot the three. And if you get a team that gets hot from beyond the arc, and your threes are better than the other team's twos, then you've got a shot at an upset. South Florida is going to be a very trendy pick on a lot of people's brackets to have that upset early in the tournament. And I think they've got a puncher's chance. They've got that Ernie Shavers chance, come with the big right hook. And if it hits, you're in. And they've got that chance coming into that game.
Yeah, another one is somebody we've had one of their insiders, one of their beat writers on the show, a couple of months ago, is VCU, the 11th seed coming out of the Atlantic 10, taking on a North Carolina team that's reeling a bit without their star freshman Caleb Wilson. He's out for the season with an injury. That's another one. Both teams, not that far, a decent drive from Greenville, and VCU fans travel well, and so that's another matchup that a lot of people they like the Rams over the Heels.
Yeah, and a team in VCU that's playing its best basketball right now at the right time of the year, looked great in the A10 tournament, played really well. They're deep. They come at you in waves. So, and like you said, North Carolina being without Caleb Wilson, at some point that's going to rear its ugly head in the tournament. Do they probably get by? I think they probably escape VCU, but it's going to be a lot closer than a lot of North Carolina fans are going to want in that first game.
Yeah, if it's a double-digit win, I'd be surprised.
Yeah.
I think you're the same way. Now, the other two games, we have to wait on these next two nights here, and the 11 seed first four games to be played. One is the one tonight, Texas, NC State, two teams we talked about really kind of limped their way to the finish. But BYU is another team that just a month ago would have been probably a 3 seed. They've fallen to a 6 seed. That's the thing about 6 seeds is a lot of times they're teams that they struggled themselves and fell in position. They're not playing their strongest basketball either. BYU, another team that's hurt with Richie Saunders going out with an injury, and they really haven't been the same since.
Right. They haven't been able to make up for that 3-point shooting that he brought to the team.
Yeah.
However, if AJ DePensa can get on a roll, if he can take over a game, they could still make some hay in this tournament. You can't go out there and say, oh, they don't have Saunders, they're hurt, they're banged up. If you overlook DePensa, you do so at your own peril. The kid can flat out play, and he can carry a team, if need be, across that finish line.
He's unbelievable. I'm stunned. To me, he's a consensus number one pick, but I know that Peterson and Boozer are there too, and they're great talents. But I'm a big fan of AJ DePensa for the Cougars. The other 6-11 game we haven't talked about yet. Tennessee is another team with a star freshman in Nate Ament, but again, a team that kind of struggled this year. Really never could get consistent play, and they've got either SMU or Miami of Ohio that's lost only once, and the Redhawks are out to prove something here this March.
Exactly. And I think the Redhawks do win their matchup. They get onto that game with Tennessee, and then that's going to be their stage to say, look, this is why y'all wouldn't schedule us. This is why these Power 4 teams didn't want any of us. And if they can pull that off, bless their heart. I think, I don't know if they can get it done. I think Amen is too talented to allow that to happen. But one thing they have going for them is on the opposite sideline is Mr. Barnes, who, look, I don't want to be negative. I'm just not a fan of him as a coach. He reminds me, he is in that same group with like Jim Boeheim and those kind of guys. Great during the regular season, fine recruiters, but can't get you over the hump. Boeheim managed it once because he had an NBA Hall of Famer on his team in Carmelo Anthony. But other than that, he could never get it done.
Yeah. So fun matchups. And again, we can't wait for the action to begin tonight, tomorrow night, and then, of course, the first round tipping off high noon Eastern time on all the networks, CBS and Turner. Okay, the Dirty Dozen and our moment of awe is up next.
I get a lot of calls from people across the country who are suffering from the affliction of IRS tax debt, and that's because I have a remedy. Hi, I'm the tax doctor, and if you're having any of these tax issues, call me right now. My team specializes in helping people over the age of 50 solve their tax problems, and the bigger your tax problem is, the more money you can save. If you owe the IRS money, or you're about to owe the IRS money, or even if you need to file years of unfiled returns, call us right now. Our friendly, highly trained representatives are waiting right now to take your call. Over the years, we've helped thousands of people just like you stop the tax liens, wage garnishments, and harassing phone calls. You don't need to send the IRS a big fat check. We can negotiate a lower amount. That's what we guarantee for you. So call us right now. Call 833-789-3068.
Okay, time now for a moment of awe. And the awe in this one is if this dirty dozen holds up like it has in the 13 to 14 times before. The 12 teams in the 2026 NCAA tournament that will not win the NCAA championship. And here we go. UConn, Purdue, Gonzaga, Illinois, Michigan State, Virginia, Alabama, Nebraska, Texas Tech, Vandy, Wisconsin, and North Carolina. Quickly, one more time. UConn, Purdue, Gonzaga, Illinois, Michigan State, Virginia, Alabama, Nebraska, Texas Tech, Vanderbilt, Wisconsin, and UNC. All right. The 2026 Dirty Dozen. Let's follow along and see how it does. All right. That's our show for today. We appreciate Coach Bailey stopping by from Queen's University. Good luck to the Royals as they take on Purdue. Thanks to you as well. Enjoy the games. We're back here tomorrow on the Sports IQ.
Thanks for listening to Sports IQ with Larry Smith, Monday through Friday. Continue the conversation at Sports IQ LS. We'll see you next time.